Everyone is asking, how do I secure my supply chain? How do I enable it in my environment? How do I consume, promote, deploy, and verify a graph of supply chain artifacts? In this demo, I'll show you how you can build images, SBOMs, scan results, all signed as one graph of artifacts you can promote from public registries through your dev, staging, and prod environments. Hi, I'm Steve Lasker, a PM architect in Azure. Let's get started. So we're going to build, sign, and scan a set of artifacts related to our NetMonitor image in our Azure Registry. Of course, we need an image that we're going to build. So we'll build and push it to ACR. And then we want a certificate. Now, I can get the certificate from Azure Key Vault or whatever Key Vault provider or Key Vault management system that you're using. We focus on X509 certs. So here I'll generate a test cert for now, and I can sign my image. It's that simple. I take my cert and I sign the image. This environment could be a VM with no public ingress, egress, no access whatsoever. It's in a private network. My registry's got access to that private network, and that's it. I don't want to have external dependencies on any other services. We really want it to be as secure as possible. Once it's signed, of course, I can list the images. Can I verify my images? Well, verify by who? Just because your image is signed doesn't mean it's signed by an entity you trust. Right? You opt into what you trust. We have a secure by default model. So I'm going to add the Wabbit Networks key that I've got as one of my trusted cert providers. And I can see that by looking at our policy. We have verification certs, the Wabbit Networks named object, and there is our key. So now that I've got that configured, now I can verify the image with one of the certs that I have configured. Now, I want to view the graph of artifacts in a registry. This is one of the things that we've been also focusing on, is we believe that a registry should evolve to be able to understand this graph of objects. It doesn't necessarily need to know about signing. It needs to know how to store references to things. Signatures are references to other artifacts. In this case, I have a Notary V2 signature associated with our NetMonitor image. And if I wanted to see what was in that registry, I don't want to see all of the attributes and metadata. I want to see the list of artifacts. So in this case, I see a singular tag. That is the thing that I want to think about. Just like if I'm listing the files that are in a directory, by default, I see the files. I don't see the attributes of those files as a peer of my file list. I see it as a pivot of the files in my directory. We think the same way about artifacts that we put in a registry. There's the artifacts I want to reason with, and there's attributes associated with it. And of course, I can look at all the manifests in a registry. That content is there, but it's separated. I have my image, which you can see has a tag for V1. And I see here, this happens to be the signature. Notice there's no tag. And eventually, we'll be adding this additional information inside of ACR to show that this is a relationship up here to this other image, the same way that ORAS Discover does that today. So notice here, we've got this relationship. We'll make that relationship show as part of the ACR API as well. Okay, so we have this graph stored in our registry. It's a fairly shallow graph. It's an image and a signature. Now I want to go to another secure environment that I am going to import that image into. So let's clear out our environment, and we're going to effectively wipe out this machine. We'll clear out any policy configuration. And so now if I look at images, of course I have nothing. Now we need our Acme Rockets key, which I can pull from Key Vault. And now I've got that cert. My Key Vault has VNet access. So I have no external access to other resources I don't trust. There's no public, there's no additional services. My Key Vault provider and my registry. And if I look at my policy configuration, we can see there is nothing related to Wabbit Networks on here. This is all Acme Rockets, and notice I don't have any verification certs configured, which means if I try to verify this, even though the image has the Wabbit Networks key on it, that's not good enough. I want to verify with the Acme Rockets key. So what we're going to do is sign that image, and it's signing with our Acme Rockets key because that's our default. I will add the Acme Rockets key to be part of our verification certs, and now it'll pass because it's actually configured that that is the key that I want. And if I look at our NetMonitor image, we can see I now have 2 signatures associated with that NetMonitor image. And if I look at the Azure portal, we'll see that I've got a singular tag, and that's the image that I want to reason about. And what we'll see is over time, this tag will have a tree view associated with it that lets me expand it to see the signatures and other objects that are associated. Now, let's build on this a bit more. But wait, there's more. So what we're going to do is create and push an SBOM. Now this I'm going to go a little bit lower level. When I use notation, all I had to say was notation sign. And the notation CLI knew how to generate the signature and push it to the registry. Let's take a look at a little bit lower level of how that works. So I've saved my very fancy SBOM as a JSON file, sbom.json. Using the ORAS libraries and the ORAS CLI, I can actually push that SBOM, which is a type of SBOM example. The subject, the thing it's related to, is that NetMonitor image. And then I just say, hey, pass in the SBOM JSON as of type JSON. If I want to sign it, we sign the manifests that are in the registry. So I need to capture the digest. And then I just tell the notation CLI to say, hey, please sign this digest with the key that's configured. And if I view that graph, now that graph is starting to get a little richer. Not only do we have our 2 signatures, we also have an SBOM hanging off our NetMonitor image. And that's the digest for it. But now notice we have 1 level deep. Hanging off the SBOM is a Notary v2 signature. Right? You're starting to see that depth grow. Let's keep going. So we're going to use the SNCC results that come in with the Docker scan, and we're going to capture that. So it's saved as a JSON file also locally. We'll simply push that scan result to the subject with an artifact type of SNCC. We want to sign it. So again, we'll capture the digest. We'll sign that digest. And now we can see an even richer graph. Now, maybe the SNCC CLI will incorporate the ability to use Notary to generate that scan result, push it to the registry as a scan result, as a related object, and then sign it. So this is a pretty rich graph of content that we've now established here. Now with that graph, I might have that in my public registry. I might have it in my dev registry. As I promote this content from one registry or one repo within the same registry to another, I can actually filter this information as well. All right, so with that, we're able to generate a pretty rich example of content that we can store in a registry. That content can be promoted from one registry to another. We're building on the infrastructure you already have. We're not looking for customers to have to run yet another service that you're gonna have to worry about all of those capabilities for VNets and double encryption and REST and geo-replication and all of the various pieces of security and reliability. We're simply building some additional capabilities on the registries you're already using. You'll be able to use the Notary v2 client to be able to push and pull signatures that are associated with artifacts in a registry, and you'll be able to use the ORAS libraries to build other capabilities, just like Helm and OPA and all these other things have started to be able to do with ORAS as well. We're just taking that one step further, being able to store those as references. These are some of the projects that you can get involved with. I thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing more from you.